So us oval faces can highlight the natural structure of our face when we contour. I, as you can see, am incredibly pale. Going with the red hair thing, I'm trying to look a bit English Rose, but I think I'm kind of just rocking Casper right now. But that's fine, we can go with Casper. Just need to be careful with the contour products that you decide to use on your face. So I am going for more of grey tones rather than darker brown tones, because anything too dark can kind of look a little bit like you've got mud on your face, especially when you don't blend it properly, because blending is probably the hardest part of contouring. Any of you guys out there that contour will know that, and I'm a huge lover of contour, and that's something that I struggle with every day, sad times. These are all the products that I use to do my contour. So I'm going to start with this cream contour. I actually really prefer cream products rather than powders, just because I find them so much easier to use. But I'm going to blend both actually. I'm going to start with the cream and then use a powder on top, just because this cream is actually quite a darker brown than what would go with my skin tone. So I'm going to start with the brown and then brush over it with the powder to make it a bit more grey. So you want to take your angled contour brush and you want to sweep it through so that you've got enough on your brush to work with, but not so much that it's going to really cake on. When you're trying to find the line to contour down your cheek, if you feel around here, underneath your jaw, you can kind of feel the bump there. This is a little trick that I literally got told 10 minutes ago and it's changed my life. You can feel the bump there underneath where your jaw sits, and you start from there and you literally brush down, literally not very far into your face at all, so that you've got a very faint brown line there. Obviously, you can start with a tiny bit of product and then build it up, because you don't want to go too over the top. You can always add more, it's really hard to remove it. So, sweep in there. If you can see there's a tiny mark. And then you want to do the exact same thing on the other side of your face. Move my hair out of the way. My hair gets absolutely everywhere and it's a bit of a nightmare. So just make sure you're not pulling your hair across your face at the same time, because that is not a good look. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to go in on top with the powder to kind of make the colour a bit softer for my skin. So tap off any excess, because again, you don't want to put too much product on your face. And then just try and blend it in like that. I also just realised that I forgot to tell you what I had on my face to start with, because clearly I already have makeup on my face. So I just prepped my face with a primer and then my usual foundation, and then I did my normal everyday eye makeup, just so that that's all already done. And my eyebrows, obviously, I draw those on. These are not natural. So yeah, you just start off with that, and then you can build your contour on top of your makeup that you've already done. So I've put those lines either side of my face. I'm then going to go back, actually, for my nose, I'm just going to use the powder, because I think a cream is a little bit too harsh for your nose. So I'm using a smaller brush now, and I'm literally just getting the tiniest amount of product onto the end of my brush. And I'm drawing a line down one side of my nose here, just to create that little bit of shadow down the side of my nose. And then again on the other side there. There you go. And one more place that you are going to want to apply your contour, actually two more, because I'm going to go the whole hog today. So underneath your jawline here, either side, just to create some shadows. And then again, tiny amount of shadow up here. And again, look, my hair everywhere. Also, you'll probably notice that you make some really great faces when you're doing your contouring. You've got suck it in lips. And also when you're doing your mascara, I don't know if you've noticed, but your mouth is always open. So that's quite fun. Anyway, so that's done now. Now I'm going to take my beauty blender. I absolutely love my beauty blender. This has changed my life in terms of contouring. And what you want to do is where you've created your shadows on your face, you just want to really lightly take your blender and blend it in, but you want to sweep upwards so that you're just blending that shadow into your face so that it just looks like a natural shadow. Again, move my hair out of the way. And then around your nose, I mean, you haven't really put that much product on there for it to be much of a problem anyway. There we go. Then what I always like to do to kind of make it all just a little bit more of a flawless finish, you want to go over it in certain parts where you've put the shadow with a bronzer, because it just makes it look a little bit more shimmery, a little bit more finished, and I absolutely love bronzer. As you can see, I don't tan, although I have just been to Ibiza and I do have some tan lines on my back, so yay, tan lines. But yeah, I don't tan generally, so bronzer is my way to look a little bit sun-kissed, and it just works really well with your contour. So you just want to sweep your brush into your bronzer, tap off any excess, suck your cheeks in like a fish, and sweep your bronzer across the line that you've already made. And again on the other side. I also always put a tiny amount up here for a bit more shading. And under here as well. Okay. So some people love to go really big on the highlight. I'm a huge fan of highlighting, but I need to be incredibly careful with how much highlighter I put on my face when I'm contouring, because I am really pale, as I've said. Casper's back. So I actually use a shimmery highlighting powder instead of the cream contour. As I said, I'm a big fan of cream contour when it comes to the darker contour, but with highlighting, I don't really use this. But if you wanted to, then you can apply it onto your chin, onto the center of your nose, or into the middle of your forehead, and it will just brighten up your face, as well as it will complement the shadows basically. But what I'm going to use is my favorite thing in the whole world. This is my Cover FX highlighter. It's so shimmery, and I just absolutely love to add this to my face after I've contoured, because I think it just gives you an extra bit of pop really, and it makes you feel all glam, like you've been to Ibiza, which I just have been to Ibiza, so yay. Anyway, so I'm going to just add that here onto the tops of my cheekbones, and then kind of pull like a semicircle, like a disc. No, what would you call that? A boomerang around your eye like this. And if you can do that in the light, it shimmers. And then the same on the other side, just on your cheekbone, and then the boomerang. I'm sure there's another word for that, a proper beauty word, but I'm going to call it a boomerang because that's fun. Around your eye, and then I am going to put a bit down the middle of my nose, like so. And then using my finger, because it's so much easier than a brush, I'm just going to dab my finger in and put it on my Cupid's bow. And there we go. That's all the highlighting that I do. Any Caspers out there, invest in this. It's amazing. And that is basically how I do my contour. I contour every day because I love it. For a night out, I would always go big on the baking as well. So I would bake my concealer under my eyes, and I would also bake this section here underneath where I've contoured into my cheeks, just to add some more definition to that line. But that is a huge amount of time to sit there with powder sitting on your face, literally cooking your face. So I only really have time to do that before a night out. So this is what I would wear on a normal daily basis. And yeah, that's how I do my contour. So if you like the look of how I contour and you want to give it a go yourself, please do, because I would absolutely love to see all of you oval faces on Instagram. Power to the ovals. Make sure you hashtag Beauty Advisor though, so that I'll be able to find them and we can share them on our social media as well.